What's up, everybody? So I was made aware that Hank threatened to murder me, get me killed, something like that. And today we'll talk about the situation. Honestly, it's not surprising. These guys absolutely hate free speech. And when someone calls out the truth or says anything that goes against their narrative, they usually tend to turn to violence because they're deranged lunatics. Let's take a look at this conversation. Hank was having what he thought was a private conversation with someone on Steam, and someone said, "Damn bro, guy made you dirty in this video," and gave the link to my video, timestamp 6 minutes 23. And then he says, "Why is this guy keep pulling this up in his videos?" And then Hank said, "15 minutes of shame is absolutely obsessed with me." And then the guy said, "Yeah, I saw that." And then he says, "Laughing my ass off, mother effers needs to be killed." Yeah, that's a pretty extreme threat, to be honest, Hank. It looks like you're going overboard once again. It's not the first time that he calls for the murder of certain types of people. Before he said that all immigrants that do not acclimate should get executed. And now he's saying that I should be killed for my free speech, which is, not surprising, to be honest. Let's take a look at this video that shows the exact process of how they got to this conversation, which shows that these are not doctored screenshots because there is an actual video. Take a look at this. By the way, shout out to Johnny Somali on Twitter for providing this information. And by the way, he does have a really good point. When Johnny Somali filed a copyright strike, I had to fight it back with a counter notification. And in that email, YouTube forces you to give your information. So they found out my name, where I live in New York, and this makes the threat a little bit more believable than just empty words on the internet. It feels more targeted. Now, let's take a look at what would happen if Hank would be to get arrested for this. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know shit about Korean laws. And when I pulled up threatening to murder someone as a penalty, this is what came up. There was also another statute, but that was regarding public officials, so it doesn't apply. So it would be possibly special intimidation with the crimes of Article 2A3 of the preceding article is committed through the threat of collective force or by carrying a dangerous weapon. The offender shall be punished by imprisonment with labor for no more than 7 years or a fine not exceeding 10 million won. Once again, not 100% sure if that's the case, but Hank is always talking about how Johnny Somali is causing him problems and now he's in trouble because of Johnny Somali. This is all on him. Nobody told him to say these threats. This is right out of his mouth, unprovoked, for absolutely no reason. So just because he hates my free speech that much, just because he hates that I cover the crimes that him and Johnny Somali does, he wants to threaten my life. That's pretty pathetic if you ask me. Now, I know for a fact that Hank is not going to fly to New York to do any of this because he's banned from America, but that's not the end of the threat because he says needs to be killed, which means he would have someone else do it, and he may have minions in New York. Who knows? So I'm still thinking about what I'm going to do with this. I'm not too sure about the process, how it would go to reporting this to South Korean authorities, but I'll say this to Hank because I know he's watching. You might be joining your buddy Johnny in jail at some point if you continue down this road. Maybe it's too late already. Maybe you already crossed that bridge. I guess we'll find out. Now, talking about Hank, Johnny Somali released a video that I've never seen before, which truly shows how unhinged this guy is in public and how he was intimidating women. Take a look at this.
Yo, you guys want to be on stream? That's streaming. You want to be on it? No? Hey, let's go. Let's go then.
Oh my god!
You guys want to be on stream? Yo.
Alright, you might be wondering why Johnny Somali is giggling like a little girl, and that's because every time Hank asks these women if they want to be on stream, they don't answer, obviously, and he says, F you, bitch ass, and you know what, N-word. So that's why he's very, very excited. Unfortunately, I have to mute most of it for YouTube, but that's why.
Yo, you guys want to be on stream? What?
No, no. Crash it out! Crash it out! Crash it out! Hank, I love you.
Hey, girl, you want to be on stream? My first stream.
Oh my god! Yes! Crash it out! Crash it!
You're polite.
Or what? What you gonna do about it, ho? What you gonna do? If I don't do it, what you gonna do? Exactly. Shut
Come on, man. They were
actually nice. This is it. Is. Say what's up.
It's hilarious how he's getting so much satisfaction out of creeping out, harassing, and intimidating women. I'm not sure if you noticed, but they haven't done this to a single man. It's only small groups of women. They're actually really lucky that these women don't want to fight them, because I am sure that they could whoop Hank and Johnny Somali immediately without even efforts, because these guys are the biggest fake tough guys we have ever seen. Remember the video of Hank in the alley getting totally cucked out by that guy? He was talking all sorts of shit, and then when the guy said, "You want to fight? You want to fight?" he said absolutely nothing.
Ah! Ah! Oh my god. Oh my god. You're so mad, chat. Ah! Oh my god. Ah!
Honestly, I think the judge should see these clips because it really showcases how much of a degenerate this guy is. Now, let me ask you guys a favor. Clearly, I'm getting under their skin to the point where they're willing to threaten my life. If you don't mind, please subscribe to the channel. Let's get to 100,000 subscribers. Obviously, this threat is meant to intimidate me, so I stop covering them, but none of that is going to happen. If there's something relevant and new to talk about, you best believe I'll make my video. I'm not going to let these pieces of crap silence my free speech. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.